One common question I get from students is how do I go through and restore old pictures? Now, as you can see here, we have this picture of this couple here, and a lot of times these old pictures will have scratches in them, rips, tears, missing sections. How do you go through and fix this and make it look fairly brand new? And it's actually very easy to do in Photoshop. First of all, we need to go click on the crop tool so we can remove off any unwanted background areas while preserving as much of the picture as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and click and drag out the crop to be approximately about this. That looks pretty good. Press enter. Now, as you can see here, we have some missing sections. To fix that, we could basically go right on over and grab the lasso tool. And basically, we're going to select the area that we want to fill. And we can either go directly to Edit and Fill and choose Content Aware. You see there's a menu here. You can choose Content Aware and click OK. And then Photoshop will fill it in for us. Or a shortcut for that is you can just highlight here and then press the Delete key on your keyboard. And then the Fill button will automatically come right on in. And boom, fills it right in for you. And of course you can do that for some of these other sections that are missing too. Delete, fill right on in, good. And same right along here too. Fill that on in. And you can see it's done a pretty good job. Now you may be wondering, what do you do with some of these cuts and scratches and also it looks like torn areas into the paper? Well, one thing I highly recommend is to use the spot healing brush. This is actually a very powerful tool that allows you just basically to draw right over the spot needs fixed, and Photoshop will figure out pretty well how to fix it. As you can see, we're just going right over these spots. Very quick, very simple, very easy to do. And it doesn't always do it perfectly, but in general it does a pretty good job at it, as you can see. And sometimes it doesn't, like on edges right there. That's a classic example. So we're going to be showing you another tool here in just a moment on how to do that. Of course, we have down here, highlight that. And oops, didn't quite do that as well. So let's go ahead and try that again. That looks better. Good. And a little spot right there. Well, it's looking better already. And of course, I'll grab this right under here. And in just a moment, we'll worry about some of these other things in just a moment here. Now, another tool I want to show you here that's very commonly used in repairing photos is the clone stamp tool. And this allows you to specify an area of pixels that you want to use that you can paste somewhere else in your picture. So say I want a larger brush, and let's go ahead and pick something that's like 70 pixels. And I can pick an area like right over here, and what you can do is hold down the alternate key, or if you have a Macintosh, it's the option key. And you see the little crosshairs show up? Click once there while holding the key down, and that then allows you to specify pixels that you can then use to draw over other areas. So click and hold, and you can see where the little crosshair is. That's where it's getting the pixels from, and where our circle is the area that is painting those pixels over with. And how neat is that? So you can go through and select an area, so I want right here, and then paint those pixels right onto another area in the image. Now the problem is if you pick a wrong area like this right here, you can start painting like the guy's shirt right onto the image. So you want to make sure you pick an area, some pixels that match the area that you're wanting to paint over with. Oops, I got a little bit of his shirt there. So that's one reason to be careful with what pixels you do choose for repainting. And then right on down here. Cool. And go and clean some of that up too. So as you see, it works pretty well. Now, sometimes when you get areas of pattern, like with hair, sometimes this does not work as well. For example, I'm going to drag this down to about 25 pixels. And you can say the area you want and then try to copy those pixels over the damaged area. But sometimes it's not a very effective tool. As you can see, it's still not really fixing it or making it look very good. You can see it's like, well, kind of, but not tremendously wonderful. So I'm going to undo this. And sometimes when you get these patterns in here, it just takes time and patience. One of the things I recommend trying, of course, is going to be the spot healing brush and see if you can have the program figure out how to replicate it. And really not too bad. Did a nice job. Sometimes programs work real well, sometimes they don't, especially when it comes to areas that have a pattern or a fiber kind of grain to them. Okay, now another thing I noticed, oops, right down here too. There you go. Another thing I noticed here is we have a color cast. How do we fix that? Of course, you learned this back in, I think it was lesson 1 or 2. And that is to go to auto tone, or you can manually do it directly by using, of course, the curves or levels dialog boxes. I'm just going to use auto tone for now, and as you can see, it does a pretty good job. It may not get perfect white as if you would if you were manually doing it yourself, but at the same time, hey, it looks pretty good. Now let's go ahead and do a snapshot. Look back at the original and the modified version. How about that? Vastly improved.